You're all here today because you believe in automation. You drive the world's largest, most vibrant, most supportive, most welcoming community around automation. You care deeply about the technology and work constantly to improve it. And because of this, you've had some great success with DevOps and automation. And I don't think you can even fathom what it would be to go back to the way it was 5, 3, or even 2 years ago. Unfortunately, neither you nor us can rest on our past laurels. Of course, technology and business is moving at an incredible clip. The pressure's on. Every company is being forced, whether they like it or not, into becoming a software company. The automation roadmap about making that real is anything but clear. I talk to CIOs every day, and the essence of the conversations around DevOps and automation tends to be, I've got pockets of success here, I've got pockets of success here. How do I span that? How do I scale that across my enterprise? And as the CEO of Puppet, you probably expect me to say, we got this, we know how to do this. And we do. But our success, quite candidly, has been focused. It's been focused around things that you've attempted to do with automation. And I think the world is ready and needs a way that allows us to scale the success in a prescriptive, predictive, and repeatable way. And it's not just us at Puppet that say we could do more. The industry hasn't done more. I think there's a lot of work we can do within the industry and across the industry to really make this something that's scalable and repeatable. And I'm happy to say, and proud to say, that all of that changes today. We're entering a new era in automation. One where software makes it apparent what to do. One where software provides you the insights around all the critical resources you're trying to get your arms around. It's one where software has the ability not only to tell you what you have, but to, in an easy way, take great, deep action around it. That era begins today. I'm going to urge you to take a step back on how you've been thinking about automation and the roadmap around it, and just shift your thinking a little bit around what you need to do next to accelerate your success. I'm requesting the next couple of days of an open mind to hear what we have to offer both from Puppet and from our ecosystem, so you can recalibrate, rethink how you embark upon this journey. And I promise you, you will leave with a much better understanding of what to expect from vendors, from Puppet, from partners, from the ecosystem, from each other, the community, and your teammates. It will happen. But first, I'd like to take a couple of minutes to reflect on the year that's been. A year ago was my first PuppetConf. Luke handed over the reins, and I've been honored and privileged to be part of this super welcoming community. For that, I thank you. I put that slide up as the new guy last year, saying, here's the things you can expect of me. That was my slide. And it was around making sure that as a technology company that's led in the space around automation, we continue to give you what you need to be successful with the technology. Make sure we double down on open source and the innovation around open source to make sure that your success is scalable. Be in the places you want us to be with the partners you want us to work with. We wanted to make sure that we reflected the company that you wanted to do business with from a diversity and inclusive point of view. And I personally, as the CEO, wanted to make sure we continue to hire the best people that we could into Puppet. And I think we've delivered on that, and then some, but I'll let you be the judge. Let's double-click on a few of these. I'm going to let that build because it takes a while. There's a lot we've done in the last 12 months. That's just the product innovations that we've put out there in the last 12 months. And a lot of that, the bulk of that, is with open source. If you think that's a lot, wait till what we share with you over the next couple of days. You wanted us to be where you are, where your companies are, where your businesses are, where your data centers are. We opened in Asia Pacific and Japan headquarters in Singapore. We built on our success in Sydney and opened a bigger office in Sydney, in Australia, and opened it in Sydney. And Seattle. We just opened a new office in Seattle. Every one of these offices was built with the community in mind. And speaking of Seattle, you may have picked up that a couple of weeks ago, we announced an acquisition, a company called Distelli, that builds an amazing product around software delivery and automation in that space that you're going to see over the next couple of days. It is an absolutely spectacular piece of technology, and we're really happy to have it as be part of the Puppet family. Last but not the least, we've made significant investments internally around diversity and inclusion and equity. And somewhat of a first for a company of our size, we appointed a leader to help us build that, to think about that proactively, not because we needed to, but because we wanted to. It's that important for us. And it's one thing we feel good about it. It's another thing when it's acknowledged from the outside in. That was the article from last week. We're very proud of it. We're proud of the work we've done, but there's a lot more to do. It was also an interesting year all around. The world was an interesting place last year. The IT industry was no different. And we took some time to be a little introspective, to think about what were our core values, what did we need, how did we want to work with each other, what was our culture code as a company. And our employees came up with this. They spent months thinking about it and working hard. It was a global effort. And they came up with these values that they say hold us as a company accountable. It's how we treat each other. Internally, it's how we work with you. One that I'm particularly passionate about is the one on top that says solve your customer's problem. And at Puppet, we live to solve hard problems. That was one of Luke's mottos. Hard problems. Other companies have attempted to solve problems with automation. We've solved them, we think, by empowering you to be great at what you do, empowering you as the individual. That's what seeded our success and yours, and hopefully that sets us apart. But don't just take my word for it. I'm sure all of you have at some point downloaded the State of the DevOps report. It is the planet's richest body of knowledge around DevOps and automation. We've published it for the last 6 years. It's an ongoing body of research. We've talked to over 27,000 people that have contributed willingly to this. It describes the success the world is having around automation and DevOps. There's a ton of it out there, ton of success. But our takeaway on this is it's not evenly distributed. Many of you know that I was the CIO for a large multi-billion-dollar company, and I had a front row seat, absolute front row seat to all things IT. As a CIO, I envied born-in-the-cloud companies. I still do, because they set a whole new benchmark around automation. Companies like Spotify, Google, Twitter, and many others who are here with us today. The ability they have to slipstream technology to hundreds of millions of users painlessly, or at least what seems painlessly. Having been a CIO, both at the IT shop that I was part of and other customer IT shops, I saw how painful it was to do an enterprise database upgrade. Something as rudimentary and fundamental as that took months of planning, and had to do it in ridiculously small windows of maintenance windows. We were putting pressure on ourselves. The best people in IT were spending weekends, evenings, away from their families, in war rooms, planning for something that shouldn't be so hard. It broke my heart. I would see this, and I'd spend time with them. And when it came down to it, in that war room, and I think war rooms should be banished, it was about technology not living up to its promise, vendors not working well with each other, processes that were supposed to be ironclad not quite happening, workflows breaking when we needed them most, single points of failure everywhere. Why? It was excruciating. Of course, we'd all rather operate like born-in-the-cloud companies do. But at 10,000 feet, if I had to distill it down in a simplistic way, they tend to have only one of anything, process or technology. And they standardize, and they simplify, and they automate. And they standardize, and they simplify, and they automate. Rinse and repeat, maniacally, and everybody does the same thing. Well, traditional companies tend to have at least one of everything. Right? I see some nods. Thereby putting pressure on ourselves to become integrators. Is that what we signed up for? I think not. Nobody wants to work that way. There's got to be a smarter way. At Puppet, our vision's always been about making people more powerful through software. And it's not just the efficiency it gives you, it's the quality of life. You get your weekends back, hopefully. Have those evenings, have dinner with the family. It's not a bad thing. Most importantly, contribute at a higher level. We built an entire business and community by abstracting away tough problems. We built some great tools to help you do that. And hopefully you've built some great careers around Puppet. Well, that promise stays with everything we do going forward. We're also very self-critical at Puppet. We think we can do more than we've done. I don't think the industry's done enough. We need to do more together. And it's not because we're lazy, but it's hard. The problems that we're solving are hard. It's more than technology. It's people dynamics. It's organizational shifts. It's new practices that we have to learn, old practices that we have to unlearn. All that is going to change. It's going to change starting now. I promise you that. But I wish I could say I would snap my fingers and it would all be different. I'll snap my fingers and a bunch of stuff will be different, but it's a journey. And it's a journey that we've all got to get ready to shift and align to. Let's talk about it. We call that, very simply, the journey to pervasive automation. Widespread, pervasive, everywhere, scalable. We all know automation's good. The question is, how do we make it pervasive? I speak to CIOs every day. They get it. They care about it. They want to do it. The question is how. Conversation I was having with somebody that I have a ton of respect for, Bas Geyer, the CIO of Dell, EMC, and VMware. And he said to me, Sanjay, I need a foolproof and tested automation roadmap that I can rally people around and deliver against. Now, in that simple statement were at least three very, very important things. One, a tested roadmap. Two, rally people. This is not a solo journey. This is not a hero's journey. This is a team effort. And three, like all good leaders, hold myself accountable. How do I hold myself accountable to this and my team to the business? This sums it up for me really well. So what does it look like? What does pervasive automation look like? It looks like a lot of things, and it's exciting. We had to make the font really small so we get everything in there. But it's around things like continuously automated and optimized across every resource. It's about things like constant modernization and accelerated delivery. It's around highly integrated across all tool chains. It's about supporting all kinds of infrastructure, highly performing teams across the organizations. Heck, the business can respond to markets at will. And you have incredibly engaged customers. This is just a subset of the things that Nirvana looks like. And we think this is what it delivers. Why 90%? Why not 100%? Don't worry about that too much. It's a high percentage. And the reason being, new stuff comes in. You buy another company in your organization. You divest something. Things are changing, and pervasive automation isn't about hitting that 100% goal. I know you overachievers all want to hit the 100, I do too. But it's about being really automated, highly automated. And we'll see how we get there. So why haven't we gotten there? If we know what it looks like, and it looks really nice, Sanjay, why haven't we gotten there? Well, we've done a ton of research as to what the inhibitors around automation have been. 3 things. There's many things, but we've distilled down to 3 things that truly, truly matter. 1, it's hard to know where to start. Simple as that. It's hard to know where to start. What do we automate? How do we go about it? So what tends to happen is, you get a project, and you automate deep, but not broadly in a single domain, like let's say config management. Or you get a project, and you automate deep, but not deep across domains to drive standardization. That's not bad. The fact that you've got either one of those is not bad, but we really need to think about it more holistically. The second inhibitor has been things have been hard to find, discover, and even harder sometimes to act upon. This includes but is not limited to shadow IT. This is not all about shadow IT. Because sometimes you just don't know what you have. You haven't had to touch it in a long time, potentially. Or it's in another data center, or it's not on your premise. And then you're scrambling and exposed when you have to act on it. But the problem really is, it's been hard to find it or discover it, and even harder to act on it. And the third, as much as the report tells us that DevOps is really succeeding, we're self-critical and think we could do more. We could have more common tool chains. We could have common language. We could have common processes. Okay? And we need technology that talks better to each other. Today, it's just harder than it needs to be. And there is a better way. So, if we know what the destination looks like on this journey, we know what the inhibitors are, why do I feel confident that this is the right time? Well, I'm not sure if the majority of people in this room are having conversations about going to the cloud, or if business intelligence is important, or big data is relevant, or mobile applications help you with customers. I think those conversations are long done. So if I were a CIO today, I wouldn't be spending a lot of time convincing the business to move to the cloud or move to containers. I'd be having a different kind of conversation. It's about the business. And we all know DevOps works. It just doesn't work at scale. We need to make it work at scale. It works, but we need to scale it. This is where we stop talking about the technology element so much and the methodology like DevOps, and really say that the magic behind all of this great technology and the potential it has is automating it. That technology doesn't live up to its potential unless we completely, totally automate it. That's the time. We're here. So let's take this journey. The first thing we do, as simple as that, is build a foundation. And we think the percentage of automation there is somewhere in the 15-20% range. It's not a perfect science. It's a sense we have. If you're using Puppet today in any form, open source, OPE, you're well on your way. You're doing this. You're going broad, or you've gone deep, or maybe you've gone a little both. What have you done here? You've taken your core infrastructure, you've taken your application stacks, you've automated them, you've looked at your networks, you looked at your converged infrastructure, you looked at your storage, you've automated some of that. You've tested your cloud workloads and moved some of that. And you've started putting practices and delivery tool chains into place that allow you to be more continuously integrated and delivered. You've done some of that. Those are the kinds of things that you look at and you go, And we think, based on our research, based on our study, that puts you at 15 or 20%. It's not a perfect science. Take it as a number. That puts you at a tipping point in automation. It's a good place to be, because you're now taking automation from the fringes and moving it into the mainstream. We've seen this movie before in the technology space many times. One that I was particularly close to, and I'll touch upon, was the journey of virtualization. Around virtualization, in my opinion, why did it take off? It took off because we had heroes in the data center that were forced to do more with less. Squeeze more utilization out of the servers, do more, spend less CapEx. They started looking at virtualization as a way forward. It worked. The brave ones then took that to the business and said, if we could do it for ourselves, and get better quality of service, better uptime, better ROI, we can do it for the company. Allow us to do it. In this room, you have a similar challenge. You're at the tipping point around automation where you have to deliver more software, better software, faster. It's a little different, though. It's a little different because we need to go broad and deep. And to get there, like I said, you need to be able to find things, discover. And that's been missing. Discovery, in some ways, the promise and the delivery has been missing, kind of a unicorn. The second thing that has to happen really here to get the tipping point is to be able to seamlessly take action. It's one thing to have a pretty dashboard or dashboards. You walk into your operations center, you got all these dashboards. Fabulous. It's a good starting point. But it's a little impoverished unless you can go just deep, go right in there and act quickly across a breadth of resources, or plan and model something you do across a deep set of resources. And I said and. But thus far, you've had to choose one or the other. The approach with the tools have been one or the other, giving you breadth or giving you concerted depth. That ends today. That ends today. You're going to be able to discover and take action from any place or a single place. That gives you the ability to scale your success from 15, 20% to 50, 60% automated. This is a new term. It's a new way to think. And the last piece that gets you to the high percentages is about integrating everywhere. It's, again, as much as we've done more with dev and ops, take it and let's scale it. Let's get those common tool chains. Let's have those hard conversations. This is the hard step. But what you're building upon is the success you've had thus far, getting you to 50 or 60%, where your organizations understand that you've got this. You know how to do this. There's a level of credibility and trust that allows you to have those conversations. And the tools and the technologies evolve in time. And so this will be a much easier part of the journey to be on when it happens. What's important here is one cohesive pipeline with some flexibility. When you do this, when you're at this point, you're doing what I said earlier. You're standardizing, you're simplifying, and you're automating. You're building, deploying, managing on any platform, all platforms. It doesn't matter. You can build on one, test on another, deploy on a third, change your mind. Why does it have to be so hard? Let's not make it hard. We think we have an easy way to do this. You can use any delivery pipeline. And kind of importantly, take action from anywhere. We've been working a lot with the industry, and a partner that we come across often is Splunk with our customers. Splunk gives you great intelligence around what's going on in your infrastructure. What if you could seamlessly take action on that without having to get out and get in? Well, we released some technology a couple of weeks ago at their conference that does exactly that. Some of you think he's making this stuff up. It's all powered by PowerPoint. It isn't. I promise you. I wouldn't stand up here and tell you that. But I am standing between you and being able to see all the stuff that I've said about how you get to this journey and be successful with this journey. I am standing between you and that. And before I get off, and I know now you want me to really get off so you can see this stuff, I just want to recap what I think is an important concept. And the concept is having that roadmap, having that journey mapped out for yourselves and your organizations around deep, pervasive automation. One, remember, build an automation foundation. Gets you to 15, 20%, that's your tipping point. You get the tipping point, you start having the tough conversations, you go broad and deep, and you take action. The second, discover it, take action, you get this. Third, integrate everywhere. Have the hard conversations, try and address the process breakdowns, and start building tool chains that work better together. What does that give you? It's one that I got every day from when I was a CIO, and one that I think hasn't changed over the years, which is our ability as an IT organization to accelerate delivery for our internal customers. That's all they want. Just give it to me faster, please. Can we have this faster? It's not even about cheaper anymore, it's just faster. Everything's going, there's so much compression around us that we need everything faster. So hopefully I've convinced you at least a little bit about needing a roadmap on this journey, that the pervasive automation is a good thing, it looks good when you get there, and there's a shift needed to take the next step on your automation journey. We've identified the problems. I think we have good answers as to how to address those problems and why it's important to have the conversations and take some steps to go address them. So the pervasive journey to pervasive automation and the ability for us to actually address them. And we've got great technology that we're going to show you that helps there. 2, there's nobody in your organizations that's closer to helping solve these problems than you. You've already proven it in pockets, and I think you can take that widely. We're super excited to take this journey with you. We're not alone in this, because we don't live alone in the IT world. We've made it part of our design to work with you, the community, to work with you, our customers, to work with our ecosystem. You saw the sponsors. This is about a collaborative effort to integrate widely. And now I am really going to get off the stage and invite up our amazing products team that is going to take you through every element of this journey with some amazing, rich, new technology that we've put together. Have a great PuppetConf. Thank you.